Well, folks, it's the week after, meaning the week after Peggy and I took a day off, and I can't tell you what it's like to be sitting home on a Saturday and not having my blood pressure go through the roof. So this is a good thing for me. However, we're back this week, Sunday, the 24th of April, and with it, an old friend of the show who is just a delight to have here because I get to wind her up and turn her loose, and I don't have to say much at all. And that's our friend Melinda Myers. You can go to melindamyers.com. Please note how it's spelled right below her lovely visage there. It's Myers.com. Thank you so much, Melinda. It's great to have you back.
It's always good to chat with you and Peggy and all your listeners as well. And, we've had some nice weather recently for many parts of the country. So it's great to be talking gardening and getting closer for some of us to actually get out and do some planting.
Yeah, you are such a liar because here in the Midwest, it has been so cold and nasty. We did have Sunday, we went out for a walk, but it was low 40s, which was not bad for a walk. It's
No.
great. But it has not been an early spring, and I'm actually
No.
cool with that because speaking of cool season vegetables, which I planted. I've got spinach out there and some pak choy or bok choy, however you want to pronounce it, and some lettuces, and they're happy. And peas. I'm trying to do peas right for the very first time. This time I took some advice from Lisa Hilgenberg from the Chicago Botanic Garden, and she said put them in containers, because I didn't want to work the soil and mess with it. And so I've got all this, and this has been really good weather for those crops, hasn't it been?
Oh, you bet. And containers, one of the things that I totally agree with Lisa is planting in containers early. So our weather is so crazy all across the country. But you're right. We had some snow, we had some rain, cold, warm, cold, warm. Well, plant those things in a pot and have them outside. And then if the weather gets too bad, you could easily cover them if needed or bring them back in the garage or on a covered porch. But you're right. Spinach, your greens, your onion sets can go in and peas. Get them in early, you're going to have a longer harvest period and better flavor.
And I'm enjoying Speaking of onions, I'm enjoying watching chives come up in the garden, and the Egyptian walking onions that I
Onions.
have. And when it's onion season, you never have to buy them, which is great because I just go out and snip. Usually, I go through the Egyptian walking onions, and I know that's not the official name, but a
That's
lot
what
of
I
people.
call them too.
Is that what you call? Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
So I go through those first, and then I go to the chives, usually after they've bloomed, and then I have those for the rest of the season. And then you get some more growth in the chives. Just it's great stuff to have the perennial vegetables going.
You bet. And if you haven't, get out and weed your asparagus. That's what I need to do this weekend because the weeds are probably the worst problem I have on asparagus. It's a wonderful plant that's perennial. You know, get out there, start with your weed control early, clean up. If you've got asparagus beetles, getting after them early is also important. They're the ones that feed on those spears, cause them to be distorted. Hopefully, you remove those greens at the end of the season. That will also help with the asparagus beetles. But if you didn't get out
Oh
there and
no,
start
I did. I
cleaning
did.
up now,
I
I
didn't.
usually leave mine stand because that's good for hardiness and that,
Right.
is great. But if you've had beetle problems, that's where they overwinter. And if it
Okay.
makes you feel any better, I didn't get mine removed either. So I'm going to have some beetle issues to
Well,
contend
this
with this year.
this is going to be the first year I'm harvesting my
Oh,
asparagus.
cool.
And I'm very excited about it. Although I still need to get some more roots. I'm going to make it a larger crop. I'll tell you the story on Sunday, but it's pretty
Okay.
small right now. But the other thing, before we go, let folks know that this book has just come out. It is the Midwest Gardener's Handbook by Melinda Myers, but it's an updated version, isn't it?
It is. So the first edition came out around 2015, 2016, and things have changed a lot. We have more challenges. We have plants that have become invasive that were garden favorites. I love dead nettle, lamium, but we're starting to see it be invasive into woodland areas. So it's one of those plants that before it is an issue in your area, just stop planting it. Some of these things we can do in a pot and then manage them depending on how they spread. Jumping worms, unfortunately, I've got them in my landscape, and a lot of people do. And if you don't, I've got some tips on how to keep them out. And hopefully, we can slow down the spread as they're doing research to figure out how to get them out of the garden once they move in.
Oh boy, yeah. I was going to say that that's how I can tell that this is a new edition because you've got a sidebar on jumping worms.
Yes,
I think they should be called writhing worms because that's what they really do.
they
And
certainly do.
I have them in my yard. Um, and we're going to have a little debate about that because I think once you have them in your yard, you're stuck because people are saying, "Oh, don't move debris from one side of the yard to the other." I'm like, "Oh, come on, you're screwed, all right, already."
One of the concerns I have is I have a natural wooded area at the back of my
Oh,
property. And so
okay.
I want to be very careful as if at all possible to keep them out of those beds. They spread terribly. So you're right. I think there's minimal things, and you're in a very urban setting. And so you are kind of stuck. I've kind of tried to be very careful and change my boots and clean my tools and I'm, despite that, where did they come from? So where'd you get them? I said, it could have come in a million places. Mulch,
Exactly.
compost, plants divisions people gave me. Plants, you know, it, there's a lot of sources. And so all we can do is try to reduce this, prevent them if you don't have them and try to keep them out of our natural spaces if at all possible.
And one thing I will agree with is, yeah, if you got the jumping worms in your yard, you probably shouldn't be sharing plants with other people. It's
Exactly.
it's like a very popular disease of the 70s that I won't even reference, but there's an analogy here. It's like give a dose to the one you love most. Okay, is what we used to say in the day. Uh,
Okay. There's
okay,
a
I
whole
know.
nother
Enough,
thing.
enough said.
Enough of
All right,
that.
I think it's time to go.
I think so.
This Sunday, Melinda Myers will be with us 9 a.m. Central. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also see us on Facebook and Twitter. But and also at MikeNowak.net. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. We'll see you there with the wonderful, the marvelous Melinda Myers.
Thanks a lot, Mike.